Everybody, this is John. Welcome to the free video. Okay, so just did an extended, a little bit of a premium video there to kind of talk about the FOMC and then different plays that we've got in the newsletter and updating some other plays that we did in the room. A lot of stuff going on today and kind of what to expect at the end of the year. The biggest thing is post-FOMC is the dollar index, okay? A lot of the doom and gloom newsletters have been coming out like, oh, told you the dollar is going to lose world status, blah, 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 blah. The dollar is going higher, okay? Looking for 95, 96 in mid-2015. That has huge implications for other markets, okay? But the most important thing today is that we saw that money flow continues to go into stocks. We actually did see a big 3% move in the Russell. I think that was the biggest one-day gain that it's had all year. And if not, it was very close. But that is a super good sign as well. The things that I'm looking at are for stocks, you know, strong stocks kind of getting stronger. I like essentially stocks on a weekly chart that have held their 8-period moving average. I'm a big fan of. Stocks that have just kind of decimated that, i.e. Priceline, Netflix, Google, you know, the list goes on and on. These stocks, even though they bounced today, I'm not a fan of them to the upside. Even if the stock market rallies into the end of the year, and I think that it will, I think these stocks are going to have an uphill battle because all the people that have bought on the way down, you know what happens with that. You know, they remove their stop. If they bought it here at 1,300 and they remove their stop, you know, they start averaging down. At some point, it's like, gosh, if we can just get a little bit of a rally, I'm going to get out. And that's what causes resistance in these kind of things. So I'd be a little more careful trying to bottom fish here. And I would focus more on stocks that have just been really strong. You know, Ulta, I mean, apparently you can just never sell enough hairspray. I mean, here's a stock, it's got a daily squeeze. When the market was just getting obliterated, all it did was pull back to the 8 EMA on the daily. You know, that's the kind of stuff here that I think is the easier trade, okay? And then, of course, from there, it's really just a question of energy. You know, is energy going to be a good trade at the end of the year? Now, crude oil did not catch a bid today. Part of this is because there was a lot of money that flowed into the U.S. dollar and continues to flow into the U.S. dollar. For crude oil, the thing to look at here is that, you know, the big question is, has this thing bottomed? And I continue to think that the amount of kind of panic leverage that's here isn't done yet. At some point, you know, we get that kind of a nice rip-roaring, short-covering rally. If you look at how this bottomed after the big monstrous slide here, you know, and this is a weekly chart, I mean, you can see that, so the low here was, you know what, let me get a different chart. So in crude oil, here was that big move, right? It went from, you know, 80 up to 147 and then just kind of collapsed. And, you know, a couple key points of interest here. First of all, just seeing how brutal that was. And then when we came back to kind of key support levels here, you know, we didn't spend a lot of time here. So we came down, we kind of bounced, had a nice little bit of a bounce, and then just kind of took it out. And it's just kind of understanding the bottoming process, and that's exactly what it is a process. And, you know, it doesn't happen, those V-shaped bottoms are very, very rare. And it's on something like this, you know, you're just kind of coming down, and, you know, this is when I think, you know, T. Boone Pickett's fund, you know, went from $1 billion to zero. I mean, essentially it's like, that's the kind of stuff. And then it's just kind of like once everybody's flushed out, then you can start going. And essentially you get this bottoming pattern. You know, you create a series of highs like that. And then once you break through it. So it's a process. The main point here being that if we look at what's going on right now, you know, that process may have started. Okay. But there's no, I don't think there's a hurry. I mean, if we go back and look at this, you know, maybe we're right. Maybe we're right here. I mean, it had a little bit of a bounce, you know, but not much, right? Or, you know, nothing. So anyway, I wouldn't get too excited about a quote-unquote bottom in oil just yet, but I am going to be looking at, of course, stocks like, you know, if we do see one, things like USO and some of these beaten down energy stocks like RIG and XLE as an opportunity to get in there. Now, they had good bounces today because the overall market had a bounce, okay? But it doesn't mean that when the market kind of stabilizes and a little bit more normal and there's not plus 1,200 tick buy programs across the board, that these stocks are going to do well. And at this point, oil is telling us that they're not. Okay, and last but not least, for those of you that are interested in kind of a calmer income producing strategy that you don't have to babysit, Bruce will be doing a class tonight, simpleroptions.com/set and forget. It's just a $97 course, and you can read the bullet points there, but essentially just a strategy where it's kind of like you can produce extra income without having to babysit it, do adjustments and stuff like that. And he'll give you the ETFs and the stocks and everything that he uses on that. And if you're getting this and you can't attend, that's fine. If you're seeing this email, you can still get it for the $97 price to see the recording. Okay. All right. That's what we got. You guys have a good night, and we'll see you at the next update.